Should you use products on the scalp? Should you use oils, butters, or essential oils on the scalp? What types of oils, butters, or essential oils should you use on the scalp? By the end of this video, you will know exactly how and when to use all of these products. So if you're ready, let's go. Before we get started, make sure you go ahead and subscribe here to my channel so you're notified every single time I post another video. And then make sure you take advantage of the 50% off sale information here. So number one, oils. Oils are broken down into two categories. Those two categories are essential oils and carrier oils. Essential oils are tricky, all right? And this is where a lot of people get messed up. Essential oils are compounds extracted from plants. They are the most concentrated form of a certain plant, herb, whatever it is. Now, essential oils are broken down into three different categories. If you want to know a little bit more about those categories, check the links in the description box below to figure out where more of the details are gonna be at. Essential oils are made by steaming or pressing, all right? And now I need you guys to know that even though initially you'll look at an orange and be like, oh, this one orange will make a whole bottle, actually no, that is not the case. Essential oils are the most concentrated form. When we're dealing with wild orange essential oil, did you know that it takes approximately 154 oranges just to give you about 15 milliliters of essential oil, of orange essential oil? So 154 oranges is only gonna give you 15 milliliters, you guys. So that's how concentrated essential oils are. So I need everybody to picture that in their head. Here's a picture. Yeah. So imagine you just taking some essential oil and just putting a whole bunch of it on your hair and rubbing it in. It is the most concentrated form. So you want to make sure that you use a carrier oil to introduce essential oils to the scalp or to the body. All right. And so this is where carrier oils come into play. Now, a carrier oil is also pressed from a plant, but the process isn't as intricate as it is with an essential oil, right? It's not as deep and it's not going as deep into breaking apart each different chemical compound and all of that stuff. Is not. So basically it's a normal process where you just kind of allow the plant to do what it's going to do, and you still press it. You can do cold pressing, but it's pretty much the basics, right? From an exterior mode, it's not really trying to get the essentials out, right? So that's the difference with a carrier oil. Now, carrier oils are amazing too, don't get me wrong. Carrier oils still have a whole lot of those benefits, but carrier oils are not as potent as essential oils. When we are dealing with the carrier oil, the purpose of a carrier oil is exactly what it sounds like. A carrier oil is something that should be used to help carry the essential oils to wherever part of the body that it's needing, because an essential oil is used to treat a certain condition in the body, in the scalp, on the skin, whatever the case may be. So when we're talking about carrier oils, you also have to know another aspect that goes into selecting the proper carrier oil, because the purpose of a carrier oil is to carry the essential oils into the skin. So you want to make sure that you're getting an oil that can actually penetrate the skin without causing any blockages if you're using it long term, or if you need to use it for a long period of time. And this is where the comedogenic scale comes into play. People just learned about the comedogenic scale yesterday, but a lot of people are like, oh, the comedogenic scale isn't accurate. But one thing that is accurate is science, right? So if you guys go into learning the science of different herbs and different botanicals, link in the description box below for my favorite herbal book. But if you guys really start doing some deep diving into herbs, you can combine the comedogenic scale along with the science that you already know. Flaxseed oil, for an example. Flaxseed oil is a 5 on the comedogenic scale. Now, flax seeds have amazing properties, but that is for when ingested inside of the body, because when you use flaxseed carrier oil, right? Not flaxseed essential oil, but flaxseed carrier oil, you can actually use flaxseed carrier oil to finish wood, because the molecules are so big that it fills in those gaps and those spaces inside of unfinished wood, right? So that is something that a lot of people who are like in the whole natural lifestyle, they use flaxseed oil to finish the wood on their houses. So that is something that you would take into consideration, right? With you learning the properties of certain herbs and certain oils, then you could know where they fall on the comedogenic scale to see if whether or not this is an oil that you should be using to help you carry those essential oils. All right, essential oils are carried into the bloodstream by carrier oils, and carrier oils are broken down into 2 categories: comedogenic oils and non-comedogenic oils, where the word comedogenic simply means to block the pores or the follicles or the skin, anything, right? It's blackening. When we're talking about a carrier oil, that carrier oil that you're using in combination with that essential oil needs to be low on the comedogenic scale, because the purpose of this carrier oil, the purpose that the carrier oil has, right, if you're putting it on the scalp, is to carry nutrients or whatever it is, whatever problem you need the essential oil to solve, right? It's carrying that to that part of the body. So that is why your carrier oil needs to be non-comedogenic, an oil that will not block the pores or the follicles. You want to combine an essential oil with a carrier oil that is a 0 to like a 2 on the comedogenic scale. Anything that's a 3 or higher, like anything that's like a 3 or 4, is something that you want to be using once a week, if even that. And you know, if you are a person that wants to use oil daily and you just can't shake it, then you need to have, I don't recommend it, but you need to have a carrier oil that is low on the comedogenic scale. You're not just gonna throw the comedogenic oils away. The comedogenic oils have their purposes. Like myself, you have a cuticle that is wide open, is always open, and if you have extremely high porosity hair, when we're talking about flaxseed oil, if you just can't shake it, flaxseed oil is something that you would add as a carrier oil, but you're only gonna be using that on your ends. And when I say your ends, I mean your ends, because remember, oil can travel, right? So if you put the flaxseed oil on your hair right here, when you lay down and go to sleep, that oil can get on the scalp and clog the follicles, right? And when the follicle is clogged, it leads to so many different types of disorders. Butters fit into the same exact category. Butters that are comedogenic, and you have butters that are non-comedogenic. For example, shea butter, regardless of popular opinion, is non-comedogenic. So shea butter is one of those butters that if it got on the scalp, it's not really a big deal. It's not gonna block the follicle. No, I'm not recommending that you grease your scalp with shea butter, but if it's something that you were using as a length retention batter, it's not a big deal if it gets on the scalp, because it's not going to block the follicles, all right? But if we're talking about something like cocoa butter is a 5 on the comedogenic scale. So because it's a 5 on the comedogenic scale, when it gets on the scalp, it's going to block those follicles and it's going to block those pores, okay? But on the flip side, when we're talking about butters that are high on the comedogenic scale, these are butters that are more so for the body. For example, I live in Las Vegas, Nevada, and today it's about 100 degrees outside. So I would need a comedogenic oil to block my pores, right? To block my follicles, to block my pores on my skin. You know what I mean? Like, I would rub my feet with it, because the soles of your feet, your elbows, the palms of your hands don't have sebaceous glands. And a sebaceous gland is the gland within the body that produces oil. You have sebaceous glands in your scalp and all over your body, except for on your elbows, your knees, and on the palms of your feet, right? So this is where your comedogenic oils come in, the oils that come in to make sure that you're able to hold on to moisture and different things of that nature, right? Now, grease, aka petroleum, fits into the field of non-comedogenic oils. But see, the thing about petroleum Just like the same way America had everybody thinking that, or the world, whoever did it, had everybody thinking that milk is something that you needed to drink. Like, oh, milk makes bones strong. Milk makes everybody strong. And everybody and their grandmas and everybody was walking around telling us that drinking milk and the vitamin D in milk was actually going to make us stronger. Where in reality, it was causing a whole lot of diseases. And that lie was made up so certain farmers could sell milk. So the same exact thing happened with petroleum. I'm sorry that that's hard for some people to accept, but petroleum is fossil fuel. Certain machines that they have on top of ships, and they take their ships out to a certain place in the ocean or whatever, and they drill a hole all the way down to the bottom of the sea, or not to the bottom, to a certain place. And then once they get down there, at the very, very bottom, there's this thick paste on the bottom of the ocean, right? And it's like where all of the dead animals, the doodle, everything that died and floats to the bottom, it goes down there and it decomposes, right? Decomposition, it all mashes together and it turns into this like tar, like black tar. So they stick this tube in the bottom of the ocean and they suck that decomposition from the ocean, they suck it out, and then they have all of it on the ship. Once they have it on the ship, they take it to the factory, and in the factory they put it inside of this big machine. That tar, they put it inside of this big machine. As that machine is heating up, at each temperature it pops out something different, right? At one temperature it's the same exact gasoline that you pump in your car, right? The same exact gasoline that you pump in your car. But then at another level, they pump out petroleum. Okay, and petroleum is something that we use to block the follicles. When you're in cosmetology school or even barber school, anytime they want you to block the follicle, the first thing you use is petroleum. Anytime you need to block a follicle, if you buy box relaxer, box hair color, anything, the first thing they're gonna do is give you some petroleum to block the follicle. So petroleum is something that if you just cannot give it up and use it, that's fine, but do not put it on your scalp. It's something that only goes on your ends because it's comedogenic. It is extremely comedogenic. That's what it's meant to do. Whenever you grease your scalp with an oil or a butter that is comedogenic, so this is comedogenic oils, right? Or coconut oils, right? Is a comedogenic oil. And then when we're talking about butters, let's do cocoa butter, right? And so we're putting all of those different things on our scalp, or petroleum. It blocks the oxygen flow. That's what the purpose is. So when it blocks the oxygen flow, it's no longer getting oxygen, because the oxygen flow is blocked. So what ends up happening is, as the follicle is blocked, not only is oxygen blocked from entering, but there are things that are blocked from exiting. So whenever you put something like petroleum or something, anything comedogenic that is meant to block the pores or the follicles, once it blocks the pores and the follicles, it is blocking out oxygen. It's preventing the natural sebum from coming out of the follicle, and it's also blocking the sweat gland and preventing like any excess bacteria or anything that wants to leave the body. It's blocking all of that from coming out. It's not that you need to stop using oils and butters and all of that on the scalp. The thing is, you need to learn about these different oils and butters that you're using on the scalp, and learning when and when not to use certain products on the scalp is really not complicated whenever we really sit down and think about it. You guys, make sure you check the links in the description box below, because I have ebooks on every single topic we were talking about today. So you guys, before I release my whole new series of ebooks, I want you guys to go on my website and take advantage of the ones that are already there, because everything that I'm saying here in my videos, I have broken down in detail with the different ways, the different applications and journals for you to apply the things that I teach you in these videos. So right now, take freaking advantage, okay? You can get all of my ebooks right now at one time. Put them in your cart, add that 50% off code, and let's get to learning, all right? I love you guys so very much. I really hope that this video was informative for you. I really hope that it explained a couple of things, and until my next video, bye you guys.